Hey friends, if you're looking for quick tips to help you jumpstart your week, you are in the right place. I'm Lori Palau, host of the popular weekly podcast Organized Life, founder of Simply Be Organized, and every Monday I am here to bring you a quick organizing tip in under 15 minutes. All you have to do is click the subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening, and let's get started. Hey everybody, I am Lori Palau. Welcome to today's tip of the week, and I am so happy that you have decided to tune into our show. I really appreciate it. We get so many new listeners who are saying they love these quick little tips. So, hoping you, whether you're an OG person or a new person, that you are finding some value in it, as specifically with this series that we're doing all about family organization. So, we're kind of rounding out the month. The past few episodes, we've talked about command center essentials, we've talked about family meetings, we've talked about teaching the people in our family to do things as opposed to being the one to do all the things. And today we're going to just kind of close the loop on that whole concept and talk about managing household chores. So all of this kind of like ties in to what does that look like? Because at the end of the day, our homes have all of these moving parts, and some of them require daily maintenance, some of them require weekly maintenance, some of them it's just seasonal. And so, to really kind of get a grasp of being proactive of what do we need to do, what needs to be scheduled, what are we doing, what are we outsourcing, there's a whole kind of checklist. So, I'm going to go through kind of what I recommend. My sort of formula, if you will, is for approaching household chores and responsibilities. So the first thing, and this is can be an ongoing process because there's things that come up that we either forget because we do them, like I said, maybe once a year, maybe not even once a year, maybe it's once every couple of years, like get your driveway sealed or something. It might not be something that is an ongoing chore, but I say list out all of the things, right? All the things that you have that are household related chores. That could be, again, anything from taking out the trash to, you know, cleaning the bathrooms to, whatever it looks like in your family. So list out all of the different things, dishes, laundry, you name it. And then the next thing I want you to do is identify who's doing what and what are you outsourcing. So I could, like in our family, I could look at like the mopping, the dusting, the vacuuming. And I'm fortunate that we have a wonderful, wonderful addition to our family, Dorothy, who's been with us for years. And Dorothy does a lot of that heavy lifting cleaning for us. Now, if she's not there, we'll pitch in and help out. But I know that that is a task that I've outsourced to her. Just like we have people that now outsource that we've outsourced our lawn care to. So we'll write that down as still as a household chore, but under the category of like who owns it, I will then say it's, who's in charge of that. And then we'll take it a step further and say, does somebody who needs to schedule that, right? So if we know you have somebody that does the lawn care, but somebody has to go ahead and make sure that we call to schedule that lawn care, we want to make sure that we have who that person is so that basically the chain of command does not break down. Because that's what happens a lot of times is it's like, wait, I thought you were calling someone. Oh, I thought you were calling something. I didn't know you were calling. So just who's owning what? And I think that's really important. What are we doing? Who's owning it? What are we outsourcing? Then again, we can jot down and sort of group together. So I usually like to try to brain dump them just as they come into my mind. And if you're doing it on a spreadsheet, you could do it on pad and paper if that's easier. I prefer doing it on a spreadsheet because I'm a spreadsheet junkie, but also it makes it really easy for me to kind of like resort it. So I'll just write it down as it brain dumps into my head, and then I'll sort it by the frequency. So I'll sort it by, is this a daily thing? Like the dishes and making the beds? Is it a weekly thing, like, you know, changing the sheets or cleaning the bathrooms or whatever? Or is it something, that we do, as needed, like laundry, whatever it looks like. So the frequency, you're going to put in whatever that looks like in your world. And then you can from there, get some data. You can look at, wow, we have a really even division of labor, or this scale is really tipped heavily to one side. One person is doing the majority of the heavy lifting, while the other person is like not necessarily carrying their weight. And going back to the earlier conversations we had this month, depending on the ages of your kids, they may or may not be involved in some of this outsourcing of your chores, right? So, certain things they will be doing. They might be making their own beds. They might not be cooking, but they might be helping to prep dinner, or they might be, you may have a teenager who can cut the lawn or walk the dog or whatever the situation is. So looking at what can we not only delegate to each other as partners, um, but what can we delegate to our children? What responsibilities can they begin to take on? And that's when we had the conversation last week where we were talking about teaching versus doing and just modeling that behavior, because it's more than just them knowing the tactical way to execute it. It's about how can they learn those time management skills of, okay, I need to plan enough time for me to do my homework, eat my dinner, get ready for practice, and still fill in the blank, whatever that looks like. Walk the dog, water the grass, cut the lawn, make the bed, fold the laundry, put away the laundry, whatever that chore household responsibility is. Those are the things that we're teaching our kids. How do you budget your time? That's really, really important and is such an underutilized skill. And it's something that we don't talk about enough. So, really, it's so important to have these conversations. And these are things I know we talked about in the family meeting episode. Like, you can decide the frequency that you want to do this. This is something that you have to necessarily revisit every week or even every month, but maybe you do it quarterly. Maybe you say, okay, like, what do we have coming up this season? And for some people, like I know where I live, chores there's some things that are going to be evergreen all year round, but then there are going to be other chores that are very seasonal. You have certain things in the summer for other things in the winter. And so maybe looking at this by season is the way to do it. What are some new things that we're going to be having to pick up? What are some things that are going to be changing? And what is the season in our life that we're in, so that we know, hey, I'm busy right now. I can't do this chore. I need to delegate that. So that kind of goes in conjunction with that episode we did a couple weeks ago, all about the value of having a family meeting. So that's really what I want you to walk away with today, is trying to allocate, understand what are these household chores that we have? How can we have more of an even distribution of labor? And I know we talked about this on the episode with Eve Rodsky that we did a couple years ago with her book Fair Play and the whole fair play model, about making sure that not one person is carrying all the mental load, all of the tactical chore load, and that we really are working together as a unit. And I would be remiss to say, shout out to all my single parents out there, whether you are divorced, whether you are widowed. Um, I can't even begin to imagine the emotional and logistical burden that plays in. And I know sometimes not having, I can again only empathize that not having that partner there to offset that adds a whole other layer of stress. And all I can say is that is when it's really important to lean on your community, lean on your people, lean on your friends. Maybe you're not going to get somebody that's going to come in and clean your toilets for you, but maybe if you can get somebody to like watch your kids for you so that you can have a little peace and quiet, maybe you can start to say, okay, one of our household chores is, um, grocery shopping, and it takes up a lot of time. I'm going to just start doing Instacart. What are some ways that you can streamline and simplify your life? Because I realize not everybody has the luxury of having a family unit to kind of divide the labor, um, and kind of talk this through. So find somebody, right? You shouldn't have to shoulder everything all on your own. And if there's anything that we can do to offer you resources, suggestions, guidance, please drop us a line, let us know, because we know that under the best of circumstances, with the most financial resources and all the things, juggling a household is stressful and overwhelming. And adding in having to just make all those decisions by yourself is a whole other level. And so we hear you, we see you, and we appreciate you. So for everybody out there, I hope you enjoyed this series on family organization. I would love for you to let us know, like drop us. We read the comments. So if you want to leave us a review, or if you're not on Apple, just even shoot us an email and let us know. We send our emails out every week on our podcast. Just reply and say, hey, really like thought this was a great series, or yeah, this really didn't do it for me. Let me know so that we can continue to deliver you more content that addresses topics that are relevant to you. So until next week, I'm Lori Plow. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, please spread the love and share it with your friends. And if this is your first time joining us, make sure to click the subscribe button wherever you are listening so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, please leave us a review so other people know that our show is worth the listen. You can also find us on YouTube and Instagram at This Organized Life Podcast. And if you'd like to connect with us, you can head on over to our website at simply the letter B like boy organized.com, which is filled with tons of resources, including free downloads, checklists, links to our amazing organizing partners, and all of our digital offerings. I'll see you next week for another episode of This Organized Life.